Hi everyone, welcome back to Crochet Rocks. My name's Tracy and this is part 3 of my Circle in the Sand Easter blanket crochet along. This is one that I made previously, but I'm just going to show you roughly how it looks when it's finished. It will be slightly different. I'm using a slightly smaller hook, I think, and different yarn for this one because that was a scrap yarn project. Now this one is part 3 and I'm going to show you how we're turning the circle into the square. So that's why I've separated these two tutorials, part 2 being this circle, part 1 the introduction, and part 3 this square part. So if you needed to brush up again on how we do this part here, you don't have to sit and try and find it through the whole tutorial. But likewise, as the square is already a tutorial on my channel, if you're experienced and you want to get straight on with it, then you can just watch that tutorial. It's in my library. So it will look slightly different, as I said, because I'm using different yarn. So what we're going to do now is make this, it's a hidden row. You can't actually see it because it's just chain. And we're joining in between one of our sets of 3. So you can see we are just joining in between. So what we've got to do is look to our crochet, and you can see here is our gap, our space, and here are the 3 that go in it. So we're just going to join into this part here. So you can join into the gap. It doesn't really make a great deal of difference. Now you can do any of your colours that you're going to do, but I'm just going to stick with yellow because it's already out for me. So I just insert my hook in between those 2 stitches and I pull my yarn through. Now I'm just going to secure that with a little knot, just because while I'm doing this I'm not holding it or crocheting in my normal way. I want it to be secure, and it has come undone in the past as well, so I like it to be snug. And I will sew this end in at some point. You know, this particular round we can't bury our tails, unfortunately, because it is just a chain round. So how we do this then is to insert our hook back into that space and pull up our loop. I'm just going to secure it with a chain, so that doesn't count as a stitch. Now I'm going to chain 4. And then in between our next 3, so there we are, 1, 2, 3, I'm going to do a UK double crochet, which in the UK is a double and in the US is a single. So we've gone it. There's our segment of 3. So we go in, pull up a loop, and yarn over and pull through both. So we've got our chain making this loop. Now for this one we are doing 4 because we're going to put a corner in there, but for 2 more we're going to just do 3 chain, and then we're going to skip to our next gap there between our stitches, and we're going to insert, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through both, and then we're going to chain 3 again and go into the next, skip those 3, go into the gap there and do that again. So that is our repeat. We're going to do that 3 more times. So we're going to do 4, chain 4 for another corner. So we want 4 of them. So we're going to repeat this 3 more times. And then in between our cluster, we're going to do another UK double or US single. Now we're going to do 3. And in between, we're going to join it, another 3. And we're going to join it. Just ignore that tail. And now that's, if you lose count, if you lose track, you can always count them back. You just go 4, 3, 3, 4, 3, 3. You know you're on a 4. So let's move that tail out the way again. And we're going to chain 4. We just want these ones to be slightly bigger because more stitches are going into it. and then we join again. Now we're going to do 2 lots of 3. And in between we secure it. 4, 3, and on our last one we're going to just join here. Just join with a slip stitch, it's sufficient for this because we did have quite a lot going into there. So now we are completely joined up, and we're going to slip stitch again into our loop. So yarn over and pull through. So we're now into this gap and ready to start making our square. So we're going to chain 2 to get us up to the height of our stitch, and we're going to do 4 more treble crochets. That's a UK term, remember, it's a US double. So we're going to have 5 altogether with our 2 chain. So that's my 5th one. I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to pull these over slightly because we need the other half to take another 5. So that's 5. So that is how we do our corners. And I'll show you on the finished one. That's what they'll look like. And that does make that hole a little bigger. See, that's why we just needed to make that one slightly larger to take extra stitches. So in these 2 where we had our 3 chain, we're just going to put 3 of our stitches, 3 treble crochet UK or double US. No chains in between them, just straight in to those stitches. And in the next one we're going to put 3. If I go ahead of you, please just pause the video and catch up. I need to pull out some yarn, bear with me a moment. So these look quite difficult, but I think by separating them and going this slowly, I'm sure if you're a beginner you can have a go at this. Now we're going to do another corner. So again, we're going to do 5, 1 chain and 5. I won't pause the video at any point and go ahead. I'll keep with you. But by all means, you can pause and just hold me up in case I race off. Because somebody did point out what I think is slow crochet isn't necessarily to a beginner. So I'm doing another 5 for the other side of the corner. And now 2 lots of 3. And back at the corner. So now I could work over this tail, and so I will do. I should have worked over that one if I'd thought about it, but I didn't at the time. So a little bit of sewing, that's no problem, is it? So I'm going to do 5. My 1 chain, and that is actually quite pulled over for a change, and I'm going to do 5. But if it looks like you need it, just pull your work over slightly like this, just to make room for that other 5. That's 3 for me. Okay, now I'm going to drop that tail because it is multicoloured. So now I'm going to do my 2 lots of 3. And now another corner. Oops, I actually got a loop from below there. See that? Don't want that. That's my 5th one. My 1 chain, pull it over a little and do my other 5. Just need to pull out some more yarn. That was 4, yes it was. That's my 5th one. Okay, so now I can do my 2 lots of 3, and if I'm clever, I can hold my yarn that way and go over it. Just go over that as well as my chains. So that's 3. Pull it a little bit and go over my yarn as well with these. And my last 3, pull some more yarn, didn't really pull out enough. That might not work out actually, going over that yarn. I can see it. So there's my 3 and my back to my corner, and so I'm going to slip stitch into my 2nd chain. There's my 1st, there's my 2nd. If you're in any doubt, you can count back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this here is my 5th. You only have to count those V's, you see. So there's my chain, and you just count the V's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's your chain. So just go in and do your slip stitch the same as before by pulling through that one and the loop on your hook. And you've made your circle into a square. So if you look at this one, I changed my colour at this point and I used a lighter yellow. But I don't have lots and lots of different colours of the yellow or of any of the other pastel shades. So I'm just going to do another row of the same colour for this one. But if you wanted to, you could. So this row just consists of going in each of our stitches. So this particular, we just have to be careful when we're doing this, because we might end up with too many when we join. So the way to do that is, this is our chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is our 5. So we do 2 chain for that stitch, and then we need to go into this one here, which is very close. And I try, can you see that? It's a little bit distorted, but I try to go into the whole thing like that, just to keep it looking neat. And then go into the next one. I hope you understood that. I'll go back and show you one more time. So when I slip stitched into that stitch there, it can look, you can try if you want to go into that loop. Bear with me a second. I'm back. Sorry about that. I forgot to put it on silent, and anyway, so it's on silent now. So if you wanted to, you could join by going into that loop and this loop. You don't have to. I'm just showing you that those are the 2 loops, and if you went into that one, it doesn't really make it. You can then see your stitches a little bit better, but it doesn't really matter. You can, as I said, you can always count back. If you hold here, you know that's 1 stitch, 2, 3, 4, and this one's the 5th one. So you just do your 2 chain and go into the next stitch. It just makes things a little tighter for where we've done the join. So then, you know, this is your 2nd, 3rd, 4th one, and 5th one, and then we're at our corner. And then when we join, we would just join to our chain on the other side. So at our corner now, we're going to do 3 stitches in every corner into the centre of the where we've done the one chain, just in the gap. And then we just carry on in each stitch all the way along, and you've got to pull this one back because it will cover. I'll just zoom in and show you. See, normally it would just cover that first stitch, but if you just pull it back you can see it. See, it just covers it over. So you need to make sure you go into that one as well. And then one in each of our stitches all the way to the next corner. So it doesn't matter which one of those you slip stitch into, as long as you've got your 5 stitches before you get to that corner, and you just count them back, and then you just carry on doing one in every stitch. And I know I'm going a little faster, but if I get to the corner, just by all means do a little pause, and if you wanted to see the corner again, pause it and catch up with me. So that's now, we've not gone into those spaces, we've just gone into every single stitch. I've got to pull some yarn. There we go. So I'm now back at the corner. You can see there's the chain space. So I'm going to do 3 in that chain space, which turns us nicely round the corner. And this time it didn't cover that stitch, but if it did, I'd just pull it aside and make sure I get that one. And then just all the way along, just as you just did, in every stitch along the side. This is what's now kind of accentuating our square shape and kind of making it more of a sturdy square. Didn't miss one though. Looked a bit odd, but I didn't. And I've just realised I've been zoomed all this time, so I hope that I haven't been going off camera. I'll unzoom. I keep doing things like that. I forget that I'm zoomed. So apologies if I have been all over the place. I probably have. Right, so I'm back at my corner. If you see, I'm going to do my 3 into that corner. Yarn has got caught. So that was 2 into there. Need one more in that corner, and I can see that my stitch is right there. Didn't need to pull it aside this time. Okay, so another stretch all the way along to the next corner. So that's what it'll be looking like now. If you had a lighter coloured yarn, like if you had a lighter yellow that you wanted to do this row with, then you can. But for me, I would have to get a lighter green, a lighter red, so a lighter pink, a lighter peach, and possibly a darker blue, because that's one of the lightest blues that I've seen. So I'm back at the corner. This one's my last one, so I'm going to do 3 in the corner. Make sure I can see my first stitch and do 1 all the way to my join. Need to pull out more yarn already. Crazy. It's eating it. Pull out enough this time. and just carry on doing 1 in each stitch. Nearly there. And now we're just going to join into this one. So at this point, I think I need to do one in there, do I? No. At this point, you can either, if you want to, just join that there, and that will be your square. You'll be fine. If you look at these ones, because I use different colours, I did a darker yellow all the way along the outer edge in a UK double crochet or a US single, and then that's what I was going to use to join them together. But I don't really want to do that in this colour. I was thinking of maybe doing that in white. So I'm just going to pause the video while I find my white. It's here somewhere, and I'll come straight back. I'm back. So you can end this off and just start again with a new colour, or this is how you can join the new colour. Instead of slip stitching, you can just open your white, which is just a DK white that I've got, and we can find the end. Why are they never easy to find? Bear with me a second while I find. I'm back. So that was nearly an accident. Let me just get my end. Put my finger in my water. Okay, so dry finger. Don't you just love it? Now, what we do is we insert, there's our first chain, there's our first one, second one, we insert our hook in there, and with our new colour, we will come through. We'll just hold on to it with our finger so it's nice and secure. Just come through with our new colour. And if we turn it over, now we need to pull this a little bit so that it's not tight, but it's just secured. So I'm going to cut this yarn off so it's easier. So we're just working with 2 ends, and I'm just going to tie those in a little knot for now, just so that it does not come undone. So if we turn that work back over again, and there we are, we've joined our new colour. So I'm going to chain 1 and just do, in the same stitch that we've just come out of, do a single crochet, which is the US term, or a double crochet in the UK. Now if I pull on this little white end, it'll pull that down and snug it over, so that you won't notice that. So now we're just going to do 1 in every stitch along, and remember what I said to you before, it sort of hides that stitch a little bit, so you just have to go into that one and just keep going in each of our stitches. I'm working over my tails, you don't have to, you can sew them in if you want to, but just doing 1 UK double crochet or US single in every stitch around. You don't have to do it in white, you can do yours in a darker colour. If you're doing your blanket in a yellow, then that looks really nice, doing it in just a darker colour, darker shade. But because mine will be multicolour, now I can actually do a join which is invisible at the back, but I don't really want to get into that with this blanket. So when we get to the end, if you look, this is our first stitch, this is our second, and this is our third in our corner. So we just need to do 3 when we get to the corner in our corner stitch. So it's this one. So it's 1, 2, 3, because that is our middle stitch for our corner. And then we're just going to continue going round, doing 1 in each of our stitches all the way around, and then we will get back to our start. So every corner we do 3 just to turn the corner, just like that, and in our sides we just do 1 in every stitch, and I think that finishes it off quite nicely. I'm going to not go over the rest of the tails now. I'm just going to sew those back on themselves or snip them off if I feel they're secure enough. So we just continue going all the way around with our UK double crochet, US single crochets, and doing 3 when we get to our corner. And there's our first of our corner stitch. This is our second, so this is where we do our 3. You can easily go and have a look at where your corners are. So then we're just going to carry on all the way to the next corner, and that's what it's looking like. Taking care, I've got a little knot in my yarn. Need to undo that before it becomes a knot. Hold on one moment. That's unravelled. You could, if you wanted, edge it in this colour. I was going to do that, I've forgotten. So once I've shown you how to do that, go all the way around, I may just undo this and go all the way around the edge in that colour, or that colourway, because I think it would look quite effective. But I forgot and just chose white. But I'll show you how to do this border. We can do it whichever colour you want, whether you do it in this one colour or the 2. So here we are. It's our first one of the corner. This is our second one of our corner. So we do our 3 stitches. There's our last one. And we just carry on all the way around. So don't be surprised if the next time you see my squares, they've got a different edging. I might just do one in the other edging just to see if I like it first before I undo this one, and then I can compare them and choose which one I want to do. And feel free to do that. You know, if you want to experiment a little bit, don't have to be identical to mine. You can just play with it and get what you want, and then once you're at the next stage, we will do our joining. And you just make it as well however large you want. So if you're making this for a baby's pram or a crib, you just adjust it how you want by however many squares you want to make, or if you want to make it for yourself. So I'm back here at the start, and all that needs to be done now is to slip stitch into my first stitch and join and end off. But I'm not going to end off because I'm going to make another one and see how I like it with the other colour. But all you need to do is just pull out to make it more of a defined square, and that's it. That's how we make the circle in the sand square. Like I said, you can do a lighter colour here and a darker colour there, just like I did with these ones, because it looks absolutely lovely, I think. But for me, I'm just going to do a solid colour, and I think I will prefer it with this along the outside, but we shall see. So thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, and just hit the notification bell as well, and you'll find out when the new videos are up. And if you wouldn't mind, please just like and share this video and help me grow the channel, and that would really be appreciated. So thank you so much, and until next time, bye for now.